We are going to be doing some Detroit Lions news and rumors for you on this Monday. We're just going to go through it, give you my thoughts of what's going on for the latest Detroit Lions. Without further ado, let's go. In this video, we're going to be talking about Jared Goff contract. We're going to be talking about free agency, a potential trade, mock draft, acquiring talent for the Detroit Lions. That's what it's all about. And the Super Bowl odds. And right now, the Detroit Lions have the 5th best odds to make the Super Bowl. And that's freaking fantastic. The Detroit Lions played well, got to the NFC Championship game, and a lot of people are taking notice. It's a good football team. Again, it's going to come down to the same old teams in the NFC, San Francisco and Detroit. Maybe the Dallas continues to get in that conversation, but the Lions are getting respect that it's not a one-year fluke from the media, that this is something that's going to continue to go on this offseason and into the 2024/5 season. I agree with it. The Detroit Lions should have odds, high, significant odds to make it and win a Super Bowl. Why is that? Because the talent on this team is exceptional, and it's only going to get better with the money and free agency and the draft picks that they have, because they still go to cap 7th best in the NFL. They can make that even better with a re-sign of Jared Goff, a cut or a restructure of Tracy Walker. The Detroit Lions can significantly upgrade of the cornerback in the edge position with that money and re-sign some players, stay with this team for a long time. And that's why the media is giving the Lions kudos here, because they see what they're doing. They see how the Lions are building this football team for long, sustained success, and they believe it's going to continue on with Dan Campbell and company. So let me know in the comment section, do you think the Detroit Lions go to the Super Bowl next year? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments below. We're going to get into this 3-round mock draft real quick. That was done by All Lions Fan Nation. Interesting here. You got Rakestraw, cornerback, Missouri. He's really good in man. He's athletic. He stays. He's good at knocking the ball down, staying with it. Staying with his man in coverage. This guy is a number 1 cornerback for any team, in my opinion. I think he'd be a great pick for the Detroit Lions. We all know we got to get better in the secondary. We all know we want to get a ball hawk. We want to get a guy that could push around wide receivers. He could do it. He absolutely could do it. It is becoming a big pick. A lot of people are putting him there, but they're also putting a lot of corners here. Why? Because the Detroit Lions cornerback room is cheeks right now, and they know that this team is going to get better. This is not a big secret what the Lions are trying to do here. I'll take it at pick 29. Perfectly fine with that. I truly do believe the Lions go cornerback in the first round. If I'm just guessing right now, we got to wait for free agency. Even if we get corner, I still think they're going to get one in the draft, because it's not really some elite guy out there. But there is in this draft. I say fine. The next player here is Braden, Fiske, Florida State defensive tackle. Big behemoth on the offensive line. He's great in penetration, or on the defensive line. He's great in penetration. He can stop the run. Him and Aleem McNeil could get better. He fit well when it comes to Aaron Glenn's scheme. And they all know that it is all upon this defensive line. If you want to compete, we have to get pressure on this defensive line. Not just edge, but interior. And going at pick 61 with Braden, Fiske is fine with me. That is perfectly fine. Again, I've been talking mock drafts already. We talk about prospects. I've been saying DT, edge, cornerback, guard. And it doesn't really matter what order. They'll probably go BPA, but this is a BPA type of situation right here that also fits a need. Makes a ton of sense. Good job. Here, this one is a little bit different here. It's Brenden Rice, Jerry Rice's son here. Now, if the Lions can't get, so they don't bring back some of the other receivers, right? We got Donovan Peoples-Jones, free agent. Josh Reynolds, free agent. They could do this. Honestly, I don't believe they're going to go wide receiver. I do believe they'll bring some back. But still, look, if you're going BPA and he's sitting there, then you do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think this is probably a little bit off. I think they'll wait a little bit on wide receiver. Maybe edge. guard at this spot. Continue on here. Offensive line, Cooper Beebe. I've already talked about him in a mock draft. I like him. He'd fill in for Jonah Jackson and or Graham Glasgow. A really good offensive lineman. He'd be starting immediately. It does remind you of what they did with Larry Warford and or a Jonah Jackson. He could come in there and he'd be a starter, especially if you don't get one of these guys back. I like him. He's on my list of players who I'd like the Lions to draft. Like it that he's on their list. And that's it for that. So besides the wide receiver, I thought it was a pretty good mock draft there by all Lions fan nation. So by Vito Churko. So grade his 3-round mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F. I'll give it a B. I think you'd probably go edge instead of wide receiver. That would be my little complaint, but that's nitpicking. It's really not that bad. I think it's solid. It hits needs. It does do BPA. The Lions need to get better right there. So grade it in the comments below. Let's continue on here and talk about Lions should have real interest in Eagles' desire to trade for Haason Reddick. Now, we heard this, that he's able to seek a trade. Look, I love Haason Reddick. I've been talking about getting him in free agency the last couple of years. He's a good pass rusher. He's going from team to team. I don't know why this continues happening. He continues to rack up sacks every year. He's a good player. The only problem I have for Haason Reddick is you'd have to trade for him. And first off, we don't know the compensation. And there's edges you can get in free agency. So instead of giving up a draft pick to get Reddick, you can just sign one in free agency. I guess this is a situation if the Lions cannot get who they want in free agency, right? Maybe they're going after Josh Allen, Danielle Hunter, and they strike out. And there's butt cheeks left at the edge position. Like, you know what? Let's call up Philadelphia. Let's see if we can get Haason Reddick. We traded Swift there, so obviously we'll trade with the Eagles, and then you can fill your edge position. But in all honesty, I would go free agency first, the draft second. If you fail those two, then I'd go for it. I think it's more of a last option for me. He's a good player. He is. But we can probably get better. If everything fails, I'm down for it. But let's try other solutions first. Real Hope Lines, Jared Goff contracts make sense for all parties. Yes, Jared Goff is going to get extended this offseason. And I don't think it's going to be a hard contract to do. This is not going to be something that's going to be, talked about every day, this, that, and the other. I really don't believe it's going to be that difficult. The two sides will get together. They'll knock out a contract. It will be fair for both sides. Who knows how much money it's going to be, maybe 45 to 52, something around there, depending what Jared Goff's camp is looking for and what the Lions are willing to dish out. I really don't see much of a problem here. I do see a situation where they get it done. But if they don't, if the worst comes to worst, he's still going to be here next year. He's still got another year left on his deal, so it's more of icing on the cake to get Jared Goff extended. That's what it is. It's icing on the cake. It doesn't need to happen, but you want it to happen because it can free up cap space this year. You don't have to worry about the quarterback position. And it's locked up. You can focus on other things next offseason, right? We could focus on Penei Sewell, Aleem McNeil, those type of players. If they don't get St. Brown, this offseason is extended. Focus on that. Because you don't want to go into next year, Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, St. Brown, Aleem McNeil. That would be tough. That would be tough. So you're going to want to get some of these done this year. I'm all about getting St. Brown back and extending Jared Goff, extending both those guys. But I'm not worried about this contract. I don't think anybody should really be worried about it. So don't worry about it. It will get done. Lions projected to sign rivals former $67 million. And this is the guy who I have been chirping about the start of last year. I was like, at the trade deadline, Danielle Hunter. It just makes sense. It is a match made in heaven. He's 28, play for a winner. He's damn good, and he's not going to be some 5-year deal. You could do a 3-year contract with him. That would be significant. That would be huge because you're removing one of their best players, your rival's best players, adding them to your team. So they lose a player, we gain a player. 16.5 sacks. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Him and Aiden Hutchinson? It's over with. And especially if you go to the draft and get a defensive tackle, oh my God. This defensive line could be like the Lions' offensive line. You could be having two of the scary trenches in football if they come up with this. And how do you win, folks? How do you win? Trenches. Offensive line is pretty good. We got a couple things you got to worry about with extensions or re-sign or a potential draft. But you do this with defensive line, it's over. Danielle Hunter would be great for this football team. He is exactly what we need for this football team. I know there's other edges out there. I know. But I think this one fits the best. He never stops. His motor keeps going. What does that sound like? Sounds like a Detroit Lion, if you ask me. Loves football. Wants to win. Motivated. Sounds like a Lion to me. He is a Lion through and through, the way that you look at how he operates, how he practices, and how he plays. He's a dog. We like dogs. We like physical players whom does not give up on plays, that consistently pursues. That is exactly what we have here in Detroit. That's the type of players. He'd fit well in the locker room. He would absolutely fit well. Him and Aiden Hutchinson would be wrecking havoc in the National Football League. He would be doing that. And I love it so much if this was to happen. You would have to say the Lions would be going for sure to the NFC Championship game with this type of talent. It'd probably be a rematch, in all honesty, if you can get that type of an upgrade on the defensive line. I want to see it. Hey, let me know in the comments. What do you think? Make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. With that said, folks, adios.